Hi friends, welcome to Book Talk. The book for today is The Secret Woman by Eleanor Hibbert. Her pseudonym is Victoria Holt. Friends, The Secret Woman is a Gothic romance. Now, Gothic romance are generally mysteries involving the supernatural and heavy tinged with horror, and they are usually set against dark backgrounds of medieval ruins, of haunted castles, and even islands. So this book is a suspense novel written by English author Eleanor Hibbert, to repeat, under the pseudonym of Victoria Holt. It was originally published in 1970 and is considered to be a bestseller. Set in 1887, it chronicles Anna Brett's scandalous romance with the married ship captain Redvers Stratton as they sailed across the South Seas. Tensions built among Anna, Redvers, and everyone else on board. The serene lady and a mystery involving murder, the destruction of ship called the Secret Woman, and a missing fortune of diamonds begins to unravel in this book. The first edition of The Secret Woman was published in the United States in 1970 by Doubleday and Company Inc. in New York. Since its initial release, several other versions of it have been made. The most recent publication was done by Source Books Casablanca in Naperville, Illinois in 2014. The Secret Woman is considered as a bestseller of 1970, along with Eric Siegel's love story and John Fowles' The French Lieutenant's Woman. The book's success was likely, but it was also bolstered by the success of Hibbert's previous novels, such as Mistress of Melian and Shivering Sands. The positive reception of these works eventually gave Hibbert the title of Queen of Romantic Suspense, driving the sales of Victoria Holt novels to over 56 million copies worldwide. The main characters of this novel are Anna Brett, narrator and protagonist in her late 20s, heiress to Charlotte Brett's antique business and governess to Redvers Stratton's son, Edward. Redvers Stratton, in short, is known as Red in this conversation. Then you have Charlotte Brett, Anna's spinster aunt, who runs an antique business out of Queen's House. And of course, Reds, who is a sailor captain of the Secret Woman and the Serene Lady, and happens to be Anna's love interest. Now, Secret Woman and the Serene Lady are two ships. Then you have Chantal Lohman, Charlotte Monique's nurse and Anna's closest friend. Thereafter, you have Rex Crediton, Red's half-brother, heir to Lady Crediton's business and riches, and of course, Chantal's love interest. Thereafter, you have Monique Stratton. She is the wife of Red and mother of Edward, and a native of Coralle Island, where a lot of action is there in this story. Anna Brett was born in India due to her father being in the Indian Army, but when she was about 8 years old, her parents moved her to live in Langmouth, England, with her aunt Charlotte, into what is referred to as Queen's House. While in Langmouth, Anna was educated and began to learn the ways of Aunt Charlotte's antique business as she grew up. On one autumn night, a sailor named Red Stratton comes to see Anna, and their romantic interest in each other starts growing from there. As Aunt Charlotte grows older and weaker, she hires a nurse by the name of Chantal Lohman to look after her. Chantal seems to brighten up the otherwise dreary ambience of the Queen's house and quickly becomes good friends with Anna. Then one morning, Chantal finds Charlotte dead out of a drug overdose, and it is perceived that she had opium. She had an opium tablet, and because of that, she would have. And because of Aunt Charlotte's death, it is perceived that Anna is going to be the beneficiary. So she becomes the prime suspect. But then Chantal successfully defends her, and the death is soon declared as a suicide. Thereafter, Chantal takes up a job in the nearby Castle Crediton, caring for Monique Stretton, wife of Reds, that Anna had not previously known about. Anna discovers she has inherited serious debts from Aunt Charlotte and decides to sell her antique furniture and even rent out the Queen's house to recover those debts. During her time at the castle, Chantal and Rex Crediton, Red's half brother, began spending a lot of time together. So things are now brewing up. Chantal and this guy, Rex Crediton, who is Red's half brother, they start getting very close to each other. She finds out that Rex and Monique are going to sail on Red's ship, the Serene Lady, to Australia and Monique's home island of Coralle. So this is what Anna gathers, and she gets a little suspicious now. What all is happening? I really can't make out. In the meanwhile, Chantal helps Anna to get hired as Edward's governess, who is Red's son. During the voyage, Edward gets drugged, and Anna suspects that someone on board is planning to throw him overboard. But most of the passengers assumed it is just a kind of a prank. Once the ship arrives on the island of Coralle, Red declares his love to Anna and gives her a letter asking for her to wait to be with him just before he departs. Now, there is an interesting sense of tension and doom during Anna and Chantal's 2 month stay in the island. Meanwhile, Monique grows more and more distraught and angry over the thought that Red doesn't love her. Red is her husband and he doesn't love her. And Anna finds out that Chantal had married Rex before they set sail. Upon the Serene Lady's return, Chantal gives Anna a long letter explaining that she was the one plotting to take over Castle Crediton, and that she had, in fact, been responsible for Aunt Charlotte's death. In order for Chantal and Rex to inherit the castle and the family riches, both Red and Edward needed to be dead. So Chantal had drugged Edward on the ship in an attempt to kill him, but the plan failed. Then in Coral Island, Chantal had poisoned some coffee that Monique was going to give it to Red, her husband, in order to frame his wife for his murder. But Chantal accidentally drinks the same coffee herself and dies. Anna returns to England and continues to be Edward's governess until he begins attending school. She then returns to the Queen's house, and one of her maids informs her that Monique, in fact, had died in the island of Coral. Red returns to England so that he and Anna can finally begin their new life. So that's the story, and it's an old book, well written, and I would give it 7 out of 10. So friends, that's all for today. Goodbye and see you soon.